Hi, I'm Marshall Morris, founder of Dying Defiantly. Early on, right out of high school, I got the opportunity to go in and be an airborne aerosol, do all the fun things that most people want. But it was during a busy time, right? We were down in Panama. We got Noriega, and so I was involved in that transaction, which is Operation Just Cause. And then, of course, training up at Black Rapids, Alaska, Northern Warfare training with the British Special Forces, which is 56 below zero. So jungle training in Panama, number of amazing schools. And then, we were the reactionary force that were first on the ground on Saudi Arabia within 24 hours of Saddam Hussein going into Kuwait. So we were on ground 20, probably 22 hours immediately after Saddam Hussein went into Kuwait. And we were the initial force that started clearing Kuwait when that happened. So, though I was not a Green Beret, worked with, airborne air assault, Task Force 160th, Night Stalkers, things of that nature. So all out of Fort Campbell, which is the Screaming Eagles, 101st, great historical unit, an amazing unit. I was very blessed to be able to go through that and be involved in the service that I had for my country. And I'm so pleased that I got the opportunity to be a part of that. Life was different, obviously, right? Here I was working out like a beast all the time, always in the gym. I was a gym dog, so to speak. Had competitively bodybuilt in my 20s and just maintained it all throughout the time. So I was in about 280 pounds, right? Living in the gym all the time, running my businesses because I was an entrepreneur, but I also was running car dealerships. That's what I was doing. And so I had side businesses with medical spas and small record label and just living life, like most people would. Fairly successful businessman, doing well, didn't want for anything. I was starting to just, May, June, I'm like, okay, it's time to cut down. So I'm like, get on this workout program in June, and I'm like cutting down for the summer. And I'm like, okay, weight's coming off really quick, quicker than it normally would.
Right.
And I go through 32 pounds of weight loss in 30 days. And I'm like, okay, not feeling a lot of weird pain, but I'm like, let me go get this checked out because something's just a little off, right? I shouldn't have lost that much weight.
Shouldn't be possible.
Right. And so I go in and I see my doctor, Dr. Cheryl Westmoreland. Okay, what an amazing, cool name, right? And Dr. Cheryl Westmoreland does her tests, does her everything on me, and she's like, Marshall, she goes, everything looks great. You're in great health, except your liver numbers are just a little off. I'm going to send you to a specialist. So she gets me set up an appointment. It's a little old guy up in Marion, and outside of the VA hospital, he's a specialist. And I remember it was about 10 days after Cheryl and I had talked, I get to this appointment. Now, my significant other is camping with her family, and I'll say, oh, I gotta go to this appointment, I'll come up after. So I go on this Friday appointment, and I walk in the office, and I look at the doctor, and I say, hey, doc, look, I'm not all rainbows and unicorns, so just whatever it is, just tell it to me like it is, right?
Right.
And he just looks at me and he looks at my chart, and I swear to God, he looks down for probably 45 seconds. And the next thing you know, he looks at me and goes, I need to send you down to Indianapolis to do an ERCP. And I go, what's that? He goes, well, it's a surgery. They're going to go down, they're going to scope it, they're going to take a biopsy. He goes, it's a 75% chance this is cancer. Mm. And I was just like, what'd you say?
Right.
And he goes, like I said, 75% chance this is cancer. And you need to do this right away because it's probably pretty well advanced. And I go, okay, doc, let's go over this one more time. How is this? And he goes, we'll know more when we get the ERCP. I do it right now in the office, but I don't have the tools to do it here. And I was like, okay. So I decided to go camping. And I didn't say anything to anybody over the weekend. I just kind of sat there and thought about what he had just told me. And we're heading back Monday from the campground. I tell my significant other that I have to go in and do an ERCP on Tuesday to get a biopsy done and some other things because they believe I have cancer. And they immediately was like, what? Why didn't you say anything to anybody? Like, because I don't know anything yet, right? So Tuesday, go and do the ERCP. Now they put you out, and I've now had 32 ERCPs since July of 21. Now, most of the time they go down and they go down your throat, they put you out, you're completely under general anesthesia, they paralyze your whole entire body because they can't have any movement. They cut through the intestinal line into the liver to go in and check out your bile ducts, which is where my cancer is. And and they leave a slice in the sphincter, muscle, so they can continually go back through, slice the same area, and continually put the scopes back through this area because they have to put stents in my bile ducts to keep them flowing.
Sure.
If not, they shut down. So obviously that Tuesday they go in and they take a biopsy and they find that I have a tumor not only in my bile ducts, but wrapped around my portal vein, which is the only vein that feeds your liver. And it is compressing the vein. So it is basically beehived around it, squeezing it down to a 70% blood flow, meaning that I'm only getting 70% of the blood where most people would be getting 100% normal flow to their liver. Mm-hmm. And we only have one vein that feeds your liver, and that is your portal vein.
Sure.
And then they come back to me and they explain the situation. And at first they think they can resect this. They're like, okay, we're gonna go in and we're gonna take this out. Your liver will regrow, and we think we can take this out. Well, they get me prepped for surgery. Next 4 weeks, just prepping, getting everything ready, making sure you're ready for the surgery. The day of surgery comes. And they're telling the diagnosis is stage 4 intrahepatic cholangiocarcinoma. That is bile duct cancer, stage 4 bile duct cancer that had mets to a couple of lymph nodes outside of the liver, which makes it stage 4. Mm-hmm. Stage 3 is contained. Stage 4 means it has mets someplace else, so if somebody understands what that means. So they come back in, they say surgery day. My surgeon walks in, head down, and I look at her and I go, we're not doing the surgery today, huh? She's like, how can you tell? I go, well, one, your body language, your head's down, and you're not smiling. She's like, yeah, we misread everything. I go, what do you mean you misread everything? She goes, we missed a few things. The amount of length of the main tumor that's going down the vein. We believe that if we go in and take it, there's probably a 7% chance of survivability. I'm like, okay, sounds good to me. Let's do it. Right? And she's like, you heard what I said. I go, yeah. I'm like, what's the alternative? And she's like, probably 9 to 12 months. And I said, okay.
9 to 12 months meaning?
That's the amount of time that I would have without surgery.
Left.
To live.
To live.
And so at that point, I'm like, sure, let's take I'll take it. 93% chance I'll die on the table. And she's like, Marshall, there's not a surgeon in the world that's going to take those odds. And I said, can you go back and ask? I asked 6 times for them to do it. 6 times. They told me no. And they came back at one point and said, we believe, though, we can get you on the liver transplant list immediately. And I'm like, really? So they come back and they said, we have an option. Every one of those surgeons that said no signed off on a liver transplant and put me to the top of the list at Mayo. They were going to do a liver transplant. Mayo Clinic, yeah.
Okay.
So they were going to do a liver transplant in the fall of 21. They were ready. Now, life expectancy of a liver transplant patient is 5 years. That's it. Okay. 2 years recovery, 5 years life expectancy. So you start weighing all that. Okay, 9 to 12 months, 5 years. Okay, sounds good to me. Let's do it. Right? I'm up for anything. Next thing that happens is they start prepping you for your liver transplant. No loose crowns, no impacted molars, nothing that could possibly cause infection down the road. So they're looking at everything. They go in, they take 11 of my teeth. 11. Leaving holes between the nasal cavity and your mouth. So food, drink ends up in your nose. It was just a pleasant experience. 4 days after taking all that, they come to me and said, based on the latest scans, that the cancer had progressed so far along the right side of the liver that they can no longer have me qualify for a liver transplant under Mayo's protocol. They were sorry they didn't need to take my teeth. I was like, okay, well, that is what it is. Haven't been upset about any of this yet. Now, granted, understand, I haven't had a single sad day from the very beginning. I've always looked at it. It is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. I'm not going to get mad about any of it. 8 days after I got diagnosed, I started a charity called Dying Defiantly. 8 days after, because I wanted to make a difference